In this episode, Lane Graves, age 2, is on vacation with his family in Disney World, Florida, where he is building sandcastles on the shores of Seven Seas Lagoon. An enormous alligator charges Lane, seizing him by the head and dragging him into the murky depths. This is Disney World's terrifying alligator attack. What happened and why? This and other questions will be answered in the video. Welcome to Wild Assault. Matt and Melissa Graves of Elkhorn, Nebraska, decided to take their children on a once-in-a-lifetime vacation. In June 2006, after months of anticipation, the vacation finally arrived and the family departed for Florida. Their final destination was Disney World. Orlando. Disney World occupies a land area of 25,000 acres. Its amusement parks, studios, and animal kingdom attract nearly 60 million visitors annually. It is one of the most popular vacation destinations in the world and offers a vast array of attractions for visitors of all ages. One evening, after experiencing some of the best rides in the world, the family headed to the Seven Seas Lagoon for some peace and quiet. Seven Seas was an artificial lagoon offering boating and fishing opportunities. The water was completely calm. Bright sunlight was reflecting off the surface of the water. The lake was surrounded by grasses, a small amount of forest, and golden sand beaches. Numerous individuals were observed strolling along the shorelines, jogging on the beaches, and fishing from a couple of boats. The lagoon was located in front of the Grand Floridian Hotel, where the Graves family was staying on the third day of their incredible vacation. Even though it was late for the children at 8:30 p.m., Matt and Melissa decided that since it was their vacation, they would stay up on the lakeshore this one time. They were able to enjoy an outdoor cinematic experience. It was something they had never done previously. Matt and Melissa sat and watched the film, but their young children were uninterested in what was playing on the big screen. They instead played on the beach, digging holes in the sand and splashing in the water. Matt and Melissa had brought a bucket and spade with them. They extracted them from their bag and handed them to the youngsters. 2-year-old Lane excitedly jumped up and down while toddling on the sand that ran down to the lake's edge. He took the pail from his older sister and began to fill it with sand. His parents assisted him in turning the bucket upside down, tapping it 3 times, and then lifting it to reveal a sandcastle beneath his delight. And the family did so repeatedly. After spending a considerable amount of time playing in the sand, Matt and Melissa decided it was time to leave because it was getting late. As they prepared to leave, Lane cried out in opposition. His parents exchanged glances. They decided to comply with their toddler's requests and extend their stay. What could be the harm? When it was time to dig the trench around the sandcastle mound, Lane once again grabbed the bucket and ran to the lake. Matt and Melissa watched as he splashed into ankle-deep water while wading into the shallows. He patted his feet up and down, watching as his toes sank into the muddy, sandy ground. The 2-year-old then bent down and filled a bucket with water to bring back to the boat they were constructing. Suddenly and unexpectedly, there was a tremendous commotion. A toddler who was happy, playful, and grinning was snatched by an alligator mere feet from his family in an instant. Matt jumped out of the sand. He leapt upon the alligator and wrestled it into the water. The alligator's jaws were encircling Lane's head. Matt thrust his hand into the mouth of the alligator. He desperately attempted to pry them open, but the massive beast thrashed around and threw Matt off its back. Matt claims that another alligator attacked him in a frenetic manner during the chaos. It is unknown whether his minor injuries were caused by the alligator that captured Lane or by a second alligator that joined the attack. The alligator immediately disappeared by submerging beneath the water's surface. In a moment of terror and shock, the family was forced to watch as their son was dragged underwater by the 7-foot monster. In those initial heart-stopping seconds, Matt and Melissa rushed into the water where their son had been submerged. A lifeguard was alerted and rushed to the location. The water was brown and murky. Matt repeatedly dove under the water, feeling around with his hands for any sign of their son.
He was blind to everything. He was unable to feel anything.
Every time he reached out, he could only grab handfuls of the mucky, slimy lake bed as he surfaced for air. He observed Melissa frantically running through the shallows while screaming that Blaine was an easy target. He was only 37 inches tall and 30 pounds in weight. In the shallows, defenseless, he was an easy target.
Alligators hunt by ambush. They are the top predators in their ecosystem.
Usually, they feed on fish, turtles, muskrats, birds, and deer. In contrast to their crocodile relatives, they are generally less aggressive. It is uncommon for them to attack humans, but when they do, they rely on surprise and the force of their bite. The pressure exerted by an alligator's bite is equivalent to the weight of a compact pickup truck. Spectators at the lagoon could only watch in utter horror, desperately hoping that the boy would somehow resurface. Each passing minute, however, dashed their hopes. Within minutes, emergency services arrived at the scene and, after boarding a boat, searched the lake. 17 hours after the attack, following a massive search operation involving over 50 officers, Orange County divers discovered Lane the following afternoon. He lay lifeless and limp in only 6 feet of water. Submerged, the alligator had abandoned him only yards away from where he had been taken. He was heartbreakingly close to where Matt and Melissa had desperately searched for him. However, the murky water caused by the disturbance made it impossible to see beneath the surface. Lane's body was recovered from the water, returned to the beach, and placed in the arms of his distraught mother. He was pronounced dead at the scene by responders. There were only a few puncture wounds at the site where the alligator had bitten him. Wildlife officers concluded that despite Lane's head and neck injuries, he drowned after being dragged into the water by the alligator. His body was unharmed after the assault. Matt's action of jumping onto the alligator and attempting to free his son from the alligator's powerful grip likely alarmed the predator. And after dragging the boy beneath the water, it was released. Lake Kissimmee, located near Orlando, has the second largest alligator population in Florida. It is home to nearly 2,000 people. Since June of 2016, Disney World has placed warning signs along the edges of the lagoon to alert guests that alligators may be present in the area. Although alligator attacks in Florida are relatively uncommon, they do take place, and when they do, the results are often fatal. Lane was just trying to make the most of his time off by spending it with the people who loved him the most in the entire world. The alligator simply took advantage of a favorable situation, one that resulted in the burial of Lane's